Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson is a show about the journey of motherhood. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
So recently I was at the New York Toy Fair and I couldn't believe everything around me. And now I have a 23-month-old. So of course I was like, oh, she'll love this. She'll love this. She'll love this. I loved going to the Toy Fair and I loved checking out the TCG Toys booth. And I'm thrilled to have with me Kelly Elwood. She's a VP of Marketing and Licensing for the company. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Michelle. Nice to be here.
So you direct the company's marketing initiatives and their license acquisitions. You incorporate children's characters such as Peppa Pig and Sesame Street into must-have toys, puzzles, games. And you're a veteran of the toy and children's entertainment industry. You've worked with such companies as Mattel, Hasbro, and you joined TCG Toys in 2018 from a leading children's entertainment company. So I'm excited to talk with you about toys in general and the toys that TCG makes. So tell me a little bit about the company.
TCG Toys, we're a privately owned company. Michael Albert, basically his whole life has been on toys. So he's the owner and the CEO of the company. And we've been around for 20 years now. And our legacy is really games and puzzles. We do a stellar business on our Sherlock's puzzles and then also classic games and family games for families and children. And recently, in the last, 5-6 years, we've really gotten into playmat surfaces. So we have a vast, collection of various toys that span everything from zero to, adults when we're talking about classic games and puzzles as well.
Nice. Yeah, I was on the website and I love just the wide range of toys that you do offer because I think toys are just so important from the very young ages. So whether it's 6 months and we're talking about the jelly mats and the other mats that you offer for tummy time and the importance of developing those muscles to the puzzles and everything else as they get older and the importance of play for children. So the mats that you have, the jelly mats, tell me a little bit about those.
So those were really an offshoot. We believe ourselves to be experts in playmat surfaces for kids. So that incorporates everything from, fun. You mentioned Peppa Pig. We have Paw Patrol. We have PJ Masks. And these were all for sort of, almost your age, kind of the 2 to 5-year-olds, kids that really are already watching television maybe or in love with certain characters. And because we developed an expertise in the foam that keeps children safe, hypoallergenic, free from any additives, all of that kind of material that is really good for your child, we actually aged it down. So now Jelly Mats is our brand for sort of the 0 to, 24-month-olds. Right. So we have our Jelly Mats first, which is a line of mats that are thick foam, like a much thicker foam than our Mega Mats, which are really toddler-based. And so you can put your little baby, your infant really, on the jelly mat and be assured that, there's nothing that's going to leak. This is like virgin material, so there's nothing in the material that's going to be unsafe for baby. And, it's got a nice, decorative surface that may keep them, a little bit more, attentive to what's going on around them. It also provides, as you mentioned, it's important to have babies develop their muscles, and it's important for them to develop, a sense of themselves around themselves. So these mats are, they're about 6 feet by 5 feet, so they're a fairly large surface. And so you can enjoy being with your baby on the jelly mat as well. There's enough space for everybody. You can put extra toys on there to, help them, focus their eyes and use their hands and, develop that neck and core muscle group in their bodies when they're so little. I have 3 kids, so I've been through this.
Right. Yeah.
So we're really excited about jelly mats. They've really just come on the market. You'll start to see more of it this fall holiday season.
Great. Oh, well, I look forward to seeing those because I'm expecting again in a couple of months. And I know how wonderful those mats can be. And especially if you're moving or you're in a home that has a lot of hardwood floors, it's a great way to make sure the floors are safe for your child.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's an excellent protective surface because it's not like a rug at all. You know, nothing can leak through. You can wipe it off. It's going to protect any surface that you're on, whether it's a hardwood or whether it's a carpet. Doesn't matter, even if it's your ceramic tiles. You know, it just provides a really great protective environment as well as a safe environment for your baby. And then it's really soft and durable. And the other thing that we've brought into the line is decor. You know, sometimes you want to place a mat down that kind of fits with your decor. So we've gone with some of the leading fashion approaches, whether it's sort of neutral gray, neutral taupes, creams. In terms of the design, it's two-sided. So, you know, if you get bored with one side, you can flip it over onto the other side and get a sort of a whole new environment. But in addition to that, you may not have known this, but we are also introducing Ann Geddes into the Jelly Mat line. So all her beautiful photography of her, you know, gorgeous babies. Yeah, we've designed some mats alongside of Ann Geddes to put them, you know, on both sides of the play mats as well. And we're also including Fisher-Price into this mix because Fisher-Price, as you know, is a well-trusted brand for moms, particularly with infants and toddlers.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on that. That is wonderful. So let's just talk a little bit about the wood puzzles and just play in general and how important it is for young kids.
Mm-hmm. Well, we like to think that play is kind of a right. You know, children gain so much out of play, and it can be toy play, game play, sports play, outdoor play. It's really any kind of play. It can help, you know, as we talked about for the little ones with muscle building, but also manual dexterity, which, you know, in our wood line is so key. You know, chunky pieces that help a child be able to pick it up. It's got, you know, some of them are inlay puzzle style, so you can, it's almost like a shape sorter where you can pick up a chunky piece and then inlay it into the puzzle. It doesn't move, you know, it's good for rewarding. But, you know, play, think about play. It's like about discovery, creativity, imagination. You know, and my favorite, of course, is, you know, the laughs and giggles you get from your children. It's just so much fun to play.
Absolutely. It's so true. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You have a 23-month-old, so you're probably into play.
Yeah, you know, and I never realized just how much fun it could be, you know, especially when you're really busy and you're like, oh, just go play. But no, when you sit with them and play with them, it's really nice. And it's really nice to see the joy that they get and the way they learn through toys. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, no, it really is. And you mentioned our wood line, which I'm extremely proud of. I mean, the business for TCG has just been growing exponentially, and I'm not surprised, you know, because I'm fairly new to TCG, because the quality and the fun of our wood line is just fantastic. So, you know, we have a little Peppa Pig shape sorter clock. So it's analog. So it's got the numbers, it's got the shapes, it's got the colors. So you can play with that in so many different ways with your toddler, you know, helping them learn the numbers and helping them learn, you know, how a clock works and the colors. And then because it's somewhat of a puzzle, even the little shapes go into each one of the numbers. So it's like a really adorable item. But my favorite is we have what we call a 25-piece magnetic dress-up puzzle. So we have all our favorite characters like Paw Patrol, and we've got Peppa Pig, and we have Sesame Street and Fisher-Price. And each one of these little sets, they're wooden, and they come with a character that you can place in a base. And then it's got 25 pieces of really fun things that you can do to dress and decorate the characters. So you can add a little hat to Peppa Pig, or you can put on different dresses, and it helps the child learn, again, that manual dexterity, but also, it sounds simple to you and I, but also, that a skirt goes here and a top goes there and a hat goes there, and, all the different body parts.
Exactly.
And it's thick and hardy. So, that's actually my favorite item. It's a 25-piece dress up in the wood line. It's really, really adorable.
Where can people go for more information and to check out all the toys?
You can go to tcgtoys.com. Most of our products are on there. And as I mentioned to you, it's like 0 to, however old you are to enjoy a puzzle. Puzzles are really, really good for brain exercise. And you also can go, if you just Google any one of our items, you can, find them on Amazon, or you can find them at your local store as well.
Great. Kelly Elwood, thank you so much for joining me today. VP Marketing and Licensing for TCG Toys. More coming up in just a few.
Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson. Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson is a show about the journey of motherhood. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
As you know, I love talking with women on Broadway who are also moms, because I think it's absolutely phenomenal to balance such a demanding schedule with being a mom. And also, you wonder sometimes, looking at some of these women who are dancing their hearts out on stage, how are you also a mom? You are in phenomenal shape. You have so much energy. And that is what I thought when I went to see Cher the musical last week, because I had the pleasure of seeing Ashley Blair Fitgerald, who plays the Dark Lady, do the most amazing dance number. And I knew going into this that I was told she was a mom, and I thought, no way. Is that really the person I'm going to be speaking to next week? So Ashley, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
We'll get into your whole secret about how you stay in amazing shape and dance this incredible number. But first, tell me a little bit about your background and what you were doing before Cher.
I grew up kind of like at a strict ballet school, and then it also had jazz dancing, modern dancing to kind of get us well-rounded. But I always sort of, even though I was doing ballet, I always had my eye on like the Broadway style dance. And then I went to a camp called the Broadway Theater Project, which at the time was run by Anne Ranking, who is a, Bob Fosse vet. She's amazing. And so that was sort of what led me into the whole Broadway world. And I've done shows. I got to do Fosse. I've done Come Fly Away, Twyla Tharp's Come Fly Away. I've done Dirty Dancing on tour. And then in New York City, I did Gigi on The Town, where I got to understudy Misty Copeland, which was very cool. And Trip of Love, and then now, then I had a baby, and then right after I had a baby, I booked the Cher show, and that's where we are.
Amazing. Absolutely incredible. So tell me, how old is your baby now?
She is 23 months.
Oh, same as mine. When is her birthday?
Oh, yay. April 5th.
Oh, so nice. Well, I guess mine's technically 2 years old tomorrow, but
oh my gosh, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Such a good age. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I know. They are so much fun. So I can relate. I know how much work the first 2 years are of being a mom. So how are you able to balance it all?
Well, I have a really amazing husband, and he is there for me when I need to do whatever I need to do. But, he also has a very demanding job. So we have a nice group of sitters that are, there. It's from a company called the Broadway Babysitters. It's run by women in the theater. And so all these people that are in the roster are either, stage managers, singers, dancers, actors, dressers, whatever, so it's nice. Everybody's kind of sort of in the theater community, and that's been a huge help, so that if I need to go, like when I was getting back in shape from having the baby, I could go and take class and all that stuff and audition. And so, yeah, and then my husband works, during the day. So then we just sort of swap, and he comes home with her at night, and then I go to work and stuff like that. So
that's great. Yeah, that's amazing, because getting back into shape, clearly you're in amazing shape for this role. And we'll get back into great shape you have to be in that you're in. But tell me a little bit about the role. But you know what? Before we talk about the role, let's talk about the Cher show in general.
Yeah.
So what was the premise behind developing the Cher show?
I mean, it was really like about getting this woman's story across to the public, and really, like, I mean, we all know her as this like goddess warrior who has just like sort of transcended through time and been able to just re-up every decade. I feel like she's got this like magical card that she can like just put in and like have a new career. But just sort of like the background of all of that and like how that happened, and not that it was like the easiest thing in the world, and how she was able to do it by herself, with a kid, with another kid, and and just kind of reinvent herself over and over and over again, and the struggles that she sort of went through to do that. And that's sort of like the base plot line of it. And then it went through like many renditions of like, how do we tell this story? And do we tell it? Originally, we were sort of telling it like it was a variety show in itself,
right?
Like sort of like the show within a show. And then that, when we were in Chicago, it was a really cool concept, but it didn't quite kind of come across the way that we had wanted it to originally. So when we came to Broadway, then the message was sort of like, let the woman tell the story. And instead of having it be this show within a show, it was like, okay, what's the most important thing? Cher's voice. And then we kind of went back to that and had that be our trajectory.
I love how there are three powerful, incredible women who play Cher in the show with different stages of her life. And I was just watching another interview recently and found out that one of the women, 19 years old in the show. Yeah,
the girl that plays young Cher, Babe, is 19, and I think she was 17 or 8, I can't remember, when we did the lab. She was, getting ready to go to college, and she deferred for Carnegie Mellon. She deferred to do this. She's so talented. It's like just amazing to watch her every night, just like knock it out of the park and learn as she's doing it,
Yeah.
And then we have, Teal Wicks and Stephanie J. Block, who is our like fearless leader. But all these women, they share this amazing energy and on stage telling the story of this woman's life. And they all three do it in such an amazing way. It's like this like passing of the baton each time it happens, but they keep coming back in to be like, why did you do this? Why would you make this choice? Like I wish I could go back and talk to like 15-year-old Ashley and be like, girl, you don't want to do that.
Exactly. I'm with you on that one. And now tell me your role, how it was, how it came about, and you pull it off tremendously. And I just thought it was you're welcome. It was such a beautiful thing to watch in the middle of the show. So tell me a little bit about the background.
So the number was we developed it in the lab, and so back then it was definitely like with this like show within a show vignette style show that we were doing. So the way that the number is sort of constructed is like it's sort of like a vignette in the show, and it was sort of supposed to portray this like Black Widow who at the time, like, to parallel Cher, like she just was sort of she left Sonny. She was in a weird space with Greg. They were together, but Sonny was coming back in just as like a working partner. And it just showed like how she was able to just like rise above all of these like men that had sort of been shooting her down for so many times in her career, and she had just fired her show manager, and she was running the, calling the shots. So it just like, it was all about her empowerment as being a woman and being able to just like step on top of these men and be like, I got this, I can do this on my own. And so that's sort of who I portray. I'm portraying Cher in it, and it's her message, like, don't F with me. I'm woman. Hear me roar, kind of.
Right. And the dance number was it was sexy. It was confident. It was just everything you can imagine and more on Broadway. And so I think it was such a showstopper. I mean, even as incredible as the rest of the show was, like, your role at that moment was just amazing to watch.
Thank you. It kind of comes to at a time in pretty much any show, the middle of second act is always like that time when you need like a pick-me-up. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of when the number happens. So it's like the audience is sort of craving like something to kind of like get their blood pumping again.
Right.
So timing wise, it kind of comes in at a really nice time for the audience. And then also just like the fact that it just is like the dance itself. Yeah. I mean, it was, I feel like you had said something about like how was that developed dance wise. It was developed as a kind of a group. We all sort of got together and created phrases and created dance steps and dance lifts. And from there, the choreographer, Christopher Gattelli, was able to string together ideas of his own along with ideas that we had collectively come up with to create this piece, and then kind of more nail it down to the ground with an authentic tango basis to it.
Right.
To make it kind of gritty,
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I got to dance it with these amazing men. They're just like...
Yeah, I was just about to get to that.
I wouldn't be able to do it without them. I mean, the technicality that goes into like the way that these lifts are done is insane. And they're so strong and amazing, and just the trust that we have. I literally fall into their arms nightly, and it's so much fun.
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, clearly they're great to look at and fun in that respect. Yeah. But the fact that they are amazing in and of themselves, because you can just let go and do your thing and know that they're supporting you.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the guys that I danced with in it, well, two of them, Charlie Williams and Chris Bowe, I've known them for the better part of like a decade almost. Oh, so it's like I've been dancing with them for a very long time. So I really like we all really trust each other because we know each other so well too,
Right, exactly. So has your daughter come to see the show, or does she watch mommy in a video, or?
Yeah, I'm starting to do the whole thing of like showing her pictures of me and little videos of me and being like, who's that? And that's Mama, mm-hmm. And she kind of gets it. Sometimes she doesn't, but we haven't brought her to the show yet. I'm hopeful that we have a nice, long, healthy run, and that I'm able to, like, she's able to grow up a little bit, and then I can bring her to see the show. Because Stephanie J. Block is also a mama, and her little girl is a little bit older than Eden, so she gets it, and she is able to come, and we see her out in the audience, and she's. Did
you just say your daughter's name is Eden?
Yeah.
So is mine.
No way! Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yes. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I love that, and what a nice name. It's so like different. I don't know.
Yes,
you don't come across many Edens.
Yes, that's why when I heard that, I was like, "Ooh, I'm in good company."
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to name my fictitious child Ava for the longest time, and then I realized Ava was like everybody else wanted to name their child Ava. So my husband convinced me that we should go another route, and
that's
then
so
came
funny.
Eden.
Yes, we were supposed to have an Emma, and then when we realized it was so popular, we changed it.
Yeah.
So back to Stephanie. So you were saying her daughter is a little older.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful to see her little face out there, knowing that her mama's up there, just being amazing, and I can't wait to have that. But she hasn't done it yet. The last time I was in front of her with a wig on, she started crying. So we'll see.
Right, because you have blonde hair, right? And in the show, you have the dark black wig. So it's quite a transformation. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that is so special. Yeah.
Yeah. I had somebody came to see the show last night that was a mom of a kid that I grew up with. So she had no clue that I was in the show. And she was like, oh, I could spot you out and da-da-da-da-da. And then I kind of said that I would play the Dark Lady. And she was like, wait, what? No clue that I was the Dark Lady, completely. And nobody ever knows when I walk out, the stage door. They have no clue that's who I was.
That's great. So you can make an easy escape. So tell me, where can people go to get more information on the show and to get tickets?
Look up theshareshow.com. They'll have links there for the show. All of our shows, we're 6 days a week. Monday, we're dark. 8 shows. And just go. It's all online.
Perfect.
Theshareshow.com.
Great. Ashley Blair Fitgerald, thank you so much for joining me today. What a treat to talk to you. I'm Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy. More coming up in a few.
Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson. Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson is a show about the journey of motherhood. Joining you on your greatest adventure, here's Michelle Jerson, the Passport Mommy.
And I'm very happy to have on the show with me Jody Grant. She is the executive director of the After School Alliance. It's a nonprofit public awareness and advocacy organization working to ensure that all children and youth have access to quality, affordable after-school programs. And as we know, President Trump did speak the other day about his new budget proposal, and it did include his view on what he's going to do with the after-school activity programs. Jody, thank you so much for being on the show with me today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Tell me, what was laid out in President Trump's budget in regards to the after-school programs?
Well, President Trump's budget is devastating for after-school programs. He has proposed a complete elimination of all federal funding for after-school. And what that means is 1.7 million kids would lose their after-school programs. And this is catastrophic for the kids who are really doing all sorts of enrichment activities, physical fitness activities, coding, STEM, and learning in the after-school classroom for the working parent or parents of these kids who rely on them to keep their kids safe and engaged in those after-school hours, and ultimately for communities, because what's happening in after-school programs are essential for communities and for the workforce of the future.
Yeah, I think it's unbelievable. I just don't understand how a president could just slash all funding for such programs. I mean, tell me, why are after-school programs important, and how do they support the families?
It's I don't understand it either. I mean, we've done research, and we know that employers save over $300 billion a year from after-school programs, and that's because moms and dads are more productive when they know their kids are safe and engaged. We also know that for parents that can afford it, they're paying for their kids to be in after-school and enrichment programs, and they're doing it, of course, because it's fun for their kids, but really because it's a chance for their kids to have collaboration, teamwork, and build a host of skills that are going to help them be more successful adults. So there's really an equity issue at stake here. And, a quote that really just is staggering in my mind is 71% of our young adults, 17 to 24, are not eligible for the military. Right, so if you care about national security, it's 71%. And that's mostly because they don't have the physical fitness level. They, can't complete the academic test or haven't graduated high school, or they have a criminal record. And if they have that and they can't be in the military, think what else they're not qualified for. So where, I want to give every kid an opportunity, at the very least, President Trump should be looking at this and saying, this is essential for our country, yet they have no qualms about, obliterating the funding stream.
Unbelievable. That's really all I could say. So what happens to students who have no after-school programs available to them? What's going to happen with them?
Right. So I was going to say, for kids that don't have after-school programs, and right now, we still have a problem. For every child that's in after school, the parents of two more want these programs, and either they're not available in their community or they can't afford it. So we have a long way to go, even with where we are. And we know that the kids that are not in after-school programs are much more likely to get involved with drugs, with alcohol, with gangs. We're worried about the kids that are just going home and staring at computer screens and not engaging socially with their peers and with, caring adults. It's a real challenge to try and get more kids into after school. I can tell you, we are not going to let the president cut this program, and that's why I'm so glad that you're giving us this opportunity to speak to your listeners, because President Trump has tried to cut this program twice before, and because of bipartisan support in Congress, we've beaten it back. But it's only because members of Congress heard from their neighborhoods, they heard from their communities. We got them to go visit these programs, and that made them hold firm. So we really, really need to be, yelling at the top of our lungs about how much we need these programs. And it takes all of 90 seconds to send a quick email to a letter of Congress, and that can make all the difference.
Exactly. So we have 30 seconds left. Tell me, where can people go for more information and to learn how to send that letter?
Right. So it's afterschoolalliance.org. So www.afterschoolalliance.org. We make it really easy for you. There's a sample. You can edit it or send it as is. You enter your zip code, and it goes to your member of Congress.
Perfect. Jody Grant, Executive Director of the After School Alliance, thank you so much for joining me today. Very informative segment, and I hope everybody goes out, writes their congressman or woman, and really stresses how important these after-school activities are, because it affects not only, like you said, the students, it affects the parents, and it affects all of us as a community. I'm Michelle Jerson. Thank you so much for listening to the show. I'm your Passport Mommy, and you can always check out the website, passportmommy.com. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you next week.
Passport Mommy with Michelle Jerson.